Hey guys, it's Diana. It's Paint and Create tonight, Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Central Time, or Eastern Standard Time. Little brain cramp there. Tonight, we're going to do this guy. I did this, I don't know. I think I did it for one of my classes, but quite a while ago. I was cleaning out some bins. As you know, I moved, well, like 2 years ago, but technically I moved in this mobile home a year ago. So I had some bins. I still got one more to clean out. And I'm pretty sure this is not the Deco Art paints. So I got out my good stuff. It's all good, really. Let me put this up in the paint on the stand. And then I had a problem with my other light. This light is actually brighter. It's like really, really, really bright. So it's good. But I just sent that, well, I'm sending it out in the morning, long story. But they're going to fix it, which I think is great. Canva is the name of the company. Fantastic products. And they're going to fix it for me. And they sent me a shipping label to do it for free. So I'm pretty happy about that. So like I said, here it is again. All right. And if you don't know, I teach like beginning artists, newer artists, or artists that struggle with painting, who need to be more inspired and they want to be skilled and they want to be more confident. So that's kind of my thing, what I do for people. I've been doing it for 40 years in between hairdressing and raising children, and I sold a lot of my lifetime, and I've did all kinds of different types of art. So that on Saturdays, which you'll probably see up here, I do all kinds of stuff. We got an ATC link going. Let's see. No. Trying to get my link up here. Manage links. Ugh. So go on over there if you want to see what I'm doing Saturdays at 4 o'clock. I got it up here now. At 4 o'clock. And think about doing a little rock painting here pretty soon. I've done a little bit of watercolor. We did like some clay stuff last year. I've done all kinds of stuff, and it's just fun. I believe that, you know, when you're learning any kind of art, you're going to probably fixate on one thing, but maybe you should be doing something else. So the best thing to do is to kind of play around with the arts, and I talk about that frequently. And sometimes I got different books that I read. I'm going to do a list and put it on. I'm going to get to it on my Amazon store. This is one of them called Art Matters by Neil Gaiman. I think he's how to say it. So I give just a little couple sentences, a paragraph once in a while. And we just do all different mediums. I'm going to be doing some pastels probably soon. This weekend we're going to be doing some ATC. We're going to be doing some little cards, and it's going to be Memorial Day themed. And in the ATC group, we send stuff back to each other, and I give out Happy Mail. So that's just some of the stuff that we do. I don't want to get into a lot of it. You got to really go over there and kind of look around. Go to the guide section, see the different videos. So here it is again. I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to show you the colors I'm using. This is definitely I use mostly, because I'm a palette knife artist, I use a lot of Liquitex products, and I use a thickener with, the regular ones are usually thick enough, but sometimes I will use a thickener, and I also use the Extra Body, but these aren't all that. So, and some are Arteza too, so, because I love Arteza too, and every now and then I'll grab a bottle of Golden. So it all depends. You'll find that, you know, with any art, you might have preferable glue or preferable brush, which is the same thing with me, so, or whatever's on sale is good too. So anyway, so I'm going to turn this around. Like I said, I teach mostly newbies or people that are kind of like hobbyists, and they just want a little bit more, and they want to kind of follow along and, you know, kind of keep in touch with the other girls or the other artists that are in there, or just want to learn some new stuff. So kind of keep up with what I'm doing, and maybe I can direct you to another artist, whatever. So here's the painting, and a lot of times I sketch in my stuff with a pencil, but I don't feel like I did that, but you could. Let me see if I got you guys up here. I got my iPad up right here. right here. I should be right in this area. Number 3. Okay, where am I? I might be right in the scroll. Let me see if I'm down here. Sometimes I'm right in the scroll. Nope, not in the scroll. Right here. See your page. All right, let's see it. Am I here? I think it says live. It says live up in the corner. It's a live class. There it is. So I went and I put some colors on. This is palette paper. It's kind of like a waxy kind of paper. And I save my paints a lot, not all the time, but actually I got a whole thing over here, my wet palette. I'm going to be doing some paintings with it. So these are, I got, this one is scarlet. And this one is turquoise blue. I got phthalo green, white, and I got a lemon yellow, and this is yellow ochre, and this is burnt umber. So those are pretty common colors as far as your professional paints, but you'll find that most of these colors come like in the Art Deco art and, you know, apple barrel or similar colors. They give them little funky names, but that's what they are. They're basically just acrylic paint, so you can use it whatever you want. But I was just trying to replicate as close as I could. Now, I didn't go out. This is just a little cheap canvas, board canvas, but I have a piece of this Dollar Tree, which is fine. And I'm going to use this. It's going to be a little bit bigger, but I'll give you some ideas of how to go about this. I'm not going to do exactly like a square, but I can mimic some of this by going about midway in my mind. I'm going to kind of follow the painting. If you guys have ever watched Bob Ross, if you watch his videos, watch as he turns his head to the side. He does the original painting. He comes up with it, he designs it, and I guess he laid in bed at night figuring out how he's going to teach it in half an hour. We kind of do something very similar. So when I'm doing something, like a lot of times I'll copy other artists, or I'll copy my own, or even sometimes I just do a class and I just, my cuff, just be intuitive and just do it, which is part of art too. You shouldn't always like have a schedule or a plan. You should have fun, you know. So anyways, let me see if anybody's up here yet. Sometimes I just do a class and I just, yeah, I get the sound up. Hold on, guys. I'm getting there. I'm still learning this iPad. I'm still learning it. All right. Okay, I see, hey, Joellen. What's up, Doc? Somewhere over the rainbow. Joellen does me a great favor. She, puts a lot of comments in. I get paid for the comments and the interactions. Even if you guys are talking, I get paid. It's not a lot. It's like pennies a month. It's like, you know, McDonald's money and, you know, coffee money, but it's a little bit, and I, you know, make money doing other little things, doing this for a living. So, every little bit helps, and she's kind of funny, some of the stuff she comes up with. So, all right, so now that I got the colors I'm going to use, you know, it's acrylic paint, so your medium is basically water. I want something to put the background on. Now, I'm looking at this thinking, I might have started out with just a wet wipe. That's what I'm thinking. This kind of sheer background, and I do that sometimes. It gives it a little bit of a translucent look. Now, when I did oils for 20 years, you kind of do something similar, but I started doing acrylic background because it's a lot quicker because oil takes so long to dry. But I do a wet on wet with the oil, and pretty much with the acrylic I do too. So I'm going to, you can see I kind of did some color blocks, if you guys know what that is. That's where you kind of, before you start, you know, like if you're doing like a real painting, you want to kind of make the decisions about your paint. And the best way to do that, if you're not sure, is to just pick out the colors you think are in there and start mixing these little color blocks. Now, normally if it's something I was going to reteach, I'm going to put those colors in the back today, so that'll help me. But, you know, this is something I thought I might sell. But I like this one. That's why I think I never sold it. I think I just like this painting, so probably a keeper. But I will also duplicate paintings to sell them. So, anyways, we're going to start with the background, and I'm going to get a wet wipe here. And I'm just going to kind of, I don't know where my spray bottle is, but sometimes I'll just wet the canvas a little bit just to give it stretches better sometimes when it gets wet real good. So it needs to tighten, but it's stapled. It's not like the other ones where you can adjust it with the little wood corner things. Which I can't even think of the name of. I don't know if there is a name. Is there a name? Yeah, I think there is, like stints or something. wedges, something, I forget. All right, so then I'm going to take, this is just a regular diaper wipe. Probably has, I think it has a little bit of oil in this one. Let me see. I usually get the baby ones because number one, they're hyperallergenic. And they usually have a little bit of baby oil. It's got vitamin E, aloe vera. But I find these take the paint off, you know, when you're trying to get off people's clothing. And they spread better too. So, yeah, it's got glycerin. Yeah. So, but they're not real oily, but they just seem to work better than just regular. And then you get more. They're baby wipes. They go in the baby section. Little hint. All right, so I'm going to try to mimic this color right here, this color a little bit, and then go down light on one side, dark to the other. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of that sap green. Watch me, a little bit of sap green. A little bit of that yellow. Oh, crap. And a little bit of white, just a touch. And I'm going to just start putting this on. I can adjust it as I go as long as it's still wet. So, there's a little green up here. Now let's pick up a little bit of that yellow on the corner of it, kind of bring that in. And then it gets darker as I come to this corner, so I'm going to take this darker blue I started with, which is actually sap green. This. And go right into this corner with it. And you can start designing with this. Even if you did it with your fingers, you can start moving the paint where you want it. A lot of people, you'll see when they start a painting, no matter what they start to color with, they kind of got a lot of their picture in with just painting on the background with a big brush or a sponge or whatever they're using. There's a little bit of light that runs right through the middle of this, like the light's coming in on this side, so you want to kind of keep this up here, like maybe a little white. Kind of just lighten it up a little bit, get some white. And there's going to be like get some more white. And it's going to be kind of a curtain right here, so let's do that. It's a little bit darker right here. I'm going to need more of that sap green. Oh, not too dark. And I'm going to kind of come in here and just darken this up a little bit. There's going to be a flower pot right here. And same thing, pick up some of that green, just cover this corner up a little bit. You can adjust it with a brush too. So now I got a good chunk of this painting on the background anyways. Here's that curtain. Curtain kind of gives me a direction to go here, and there's kind of a window here. Just the other corner of the window's right here. It's going to be behind the flowers. Kind of come up here with it. Yeah. And right down here, let's add some brown to that green. And we're going to kind of have a little corner right here. It's part of the window right here. All right, so now I got some things to deal with here, right here. Darken this up a little bit. And let's get a round brush, and I'm going to start shaping the pot. Or it's kind of a see-through pot. I got a round brush. It's a Deco Art brush. I'm going to always wet your acrylic brushes first and dab. Don't go right into the water and come right out and start painting. It's not a watercolor. Even with watercolor, you don't always do that. Usually you wet the canvas most cases. And different techniques. But if you dab a little bit, you get a nice wet brush. It'll make the paint smooth, but it won't be dribbling all over. And if you got a lot of painting on, and you do that, it'll eat right through the painting, and it's not good to clean up. It can be done, but it's not easy. All right, so now I'm gonna just kind of come in here with some like brownish yellow and start making the shape of this pot. Usually I start out dark and go light, so I'm gonna kind of darken this whole area and kind of start putting in the pot. And a lot of times, you know, the trick with drawing anything that's translucent is to actually start drawing the background in. Don't worry about the highlights until last. And then, well, actually, I'll take that back. The trick is to just start doing the highlights. Put the background in, start doing the highlights. You're not actually trying to do the whole pot. You're just trying to do the front of the pot and what's behind the pot. So if you come in here and you do all of this in blue and do that in blue and this in blue, it's a big blob. If you come in here, you do everything in yellow, you'll have a yellow pot with a blue background. You can't do that. You got to pick up all the colors that are around it. The best way to do that is just do the highlights. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to darken up the background, and then I'm going to start doing the highlights. But right now, actually, I'm just looking to put in some shapes. So I'm just going to take a little bit of brown and a little white. And I'm just going to start making the shape of this pot. Just a rough shape, just so I know where I want to position it. Now, the flowers are up quite high, so I'm going to bring this down a little bit here. That's too high. That's too high. You can adjust, because you know something? This is acrylic paint. You can do that. You can fix things. Take the brown again. I'm going to kind of start fixing where I want everything. Like I said, I've done this with a pencil. Sometimes, a lot of times I do these with a pencil, but I don't see no pencil in this. I don't think there was any pencil involved this time. I also just draw it with my paintbrush too, but for this, you know, for like you guys that just learning, it's easier. That's how I learned to do it with a pencil. So drawing is important. You ain't got to be the world's best drawer, because I think I always drew and I was always pretty good at it, not great, but I think it's because I'm a doodler. But you can learn to draw a little bit, and I think a lot of artists don't actually draw. They just paint. So you can be an artist and do that. But if you got some kind of drawing skill, you're going to do better faster. But I think that actually painting teaches you all that. Composition, where to put things. I call it designing the front room. You know, you can put the chair here. Let's put the table there. See how I'm just kind of getting that shape in first. Now this is a real dark background, so I'll come in with some blues. That's sap green, and that it's called turquoise blue actually. And I'm going to add a lot of colors to that background. I'm going to just kind of come in. I'm not really trying to paint the background. I'm just getting some color in there. That color transcends right up into this corner too, so go right ahead and get it in. If your brush, see how this is doing that? Like if you want a dry brush, this is great. But if the paint isn't going on solid like this, you want to go in with the water, not necessarily get more paint. Your brush is dried out, and it'll start smooth. It should go on almost like nail polish. Pretty smooth. Not so liquidy, but definitely smooth. And I'm just going to kind of fill this in with some color. Dab and grab some blue. And I taught it painting with a twist for a while. This is something that I would teach them. You know, that's just an hour and a half, 2-hour class. And we had we served wine and beer, so yeah, everybody'd be kind of lit. But I get them early and try to get the painting started right off the bat. So they want to have fun too. And after a while, they're up walking around, you know, just talking to their buds. If it's like a closed, we did a lot of parties where they all know each other. They were from a pharmacy or a dog kennel or, you know, whatever. And see, now I got most of it. I'm not worried about getting it all in. I'm going to leave some a little translucent there. Let's see. Now, there's color right on this side. It's dark. And I think it's a reflection on the window from this blue pot. Does that make any sense? You ever seen a reflection on a wall from a pot? There's blue and there's green. So I'm going to pick up a mixture. I'm going to have green and blue on my brush. Kind of like green on one side and that blue on the other. A little bit of white. So I'm going to have all these colors going on there. And the window's actually over here, so I can change that up though. And I'm just going to kind of come in here, green that up a little bit, bring the reflections of this over here. I want this a little more wilder, so I'm going to kind of go through here and do this bit. All right. And then right here, I think, is where we're going to make, still using a dirty brush, I'm going to go into some brown. And I'm going to go right here and make that tabletop, start the tabletop. And I want it to go like this, so I got to do this more that way. It's going to be like this is the corner, right here. So you want to go like a triangle. So I'm going to bring this more this way. Yeah, that looks better now. And I can take this out a little bit. I just simply go in there with the colors again and fill that in a little bit. I kind of make it a little wild look in that corner. All right. Let's see. Let's put a little bit of yellow on that. Lighten that up. A lot of times I do these things with palette knife, but this one's just painted. It's just painted. Alright, so now I want to pick up on that window. And the window comes like right in here somewhere. Right in here. So there isn't as much curtain as I thought, so I'm not going to need all that. But the color is there though, because we washed the background with it. So, and then it's like right here is the edge of the window. Maybe a little farther over. Right here. Let's put some darkness right up in here. I'm just kind of using these colors to kind of describe what you're doing. So I don't want all the background in yet because I want to really kind of mess around with this. And that'll help me with the top. So now I'm going to pick up that green. It's the phthalo green, which is more of a blue-based green. And I'm going to, oh, no, wait a minute. Yeah. I'm going to bring that over here with some yellow. Get some yellow in there. Almost slimy, maybe darker, but right here I want to put part of the windowsill, and part of it is over here too. I'm going to pick up some of that color on this side. And then you're going to want some yellow. With a dirty brush, I'm going to pick up some of that yellow, and I'm going to make this sash right here, or this window. I want this a little bit greener, so I'm going to put a little more green in there. I got a little blue, so pick up the blue and kind of just shoot. And then there's like a brown. I'm going to kind of define this bottom with this. Always dark to light. Now this is not something that I expect you guys to do right off the bat. I mean, I've got a few that are in my classes, my membership, and they're just learning, and you could tell they've gotten really a lot better. And I kind of learn along with them, so I feel like I'm always learning when it comes to art. So I told you I try all the different stuff and bring everybody along with me. But I've been painting, oh geez, I started officially started taking painting classes when my middle daughter was around 3, and she's 46. So that's a long time, guys. So I don't expect you to be able to do this right off the bat. So I have a lot of tips and stuff that I give and things that I learn, and I put them in my membership. And I still teach them in the classes, my free group. And on Saturdays, you'll pick up a lot of stuff just by watching and listening, which you will with any artist, that's teaching. And mine might be a little different than somebody else's, but, I was worried about that when I first started doing it. I was like, there's so many artists that do all the fancy stuff, and, there's a lot of artists out there. She goes, yeah, but there's not no Diana. So everybody, artists, whoever she might be, I have my favorites too. Whoever she might be, she's going to be different from me. She's going to teach different stuff. And I learned from those artists too. And I have some that learn from me because they've told me. So don't be afraid to think that, because your art ain't as good as somebody else's, that it doesn't really count. Well, it does count. And yours is always, the whole trick with an artist, if you think you want to be famous or you just want to even improve, is, make some more yellow and green here, is to just let it happen and try to find your own unique style. Don't try to be like everybody else. That's I think, where a lot of artists fail. Now, I learned a lot of stuff. I learned how to do, I'm still copying this painting. I learned how to do, most art that I learned was in Somerville, South Carolina when I started out. And it's old money, old school. They were older than me. And they were learning with me in a studio. And their art was different. And I'm older, so it was different styles back then. But I like a lot of the artists. So, I like a lot of the newer ones too. So But the thing is that I didn't stop because I didn't paint whatever like somebody else. You know, I kept, so you're trying to find your own voice. And you got to do it simply by just doing it, you know. I know people say you don't have enough time. Well, oh, she right in my paint. I think that you can find the time. Like if you want to lose weight, I'm on a diet journey now. I've lost 40 pounds. And I found ways to cope with different things, you know. And a lot of it had to do with a lot of things going on in my life. I can't blame anything in particular, but I used to have like 2 jobs. I had a sick husband. I had a house to take care of, and all that kind of ended. And now I was still eating and not moving around as much, so that's what happens. All right, so you got to find your own unique voice. That's a big thing. So don't worry about being like anybody else. You can mimic some of their stuff. I expect you to, but you should never steal anybody's stuff. That's a big no-no. You can copy. I think it's kind of a compliment when you copy somebody's stuff, but you think you're going to sell it and make a living off it and not claim that it's theirs. As I copy other artists, and I'll say, this is blah blah's art, and I'm not going to sell it. I just want to show you guys how to do it, and I want to experiment with it. Will you come along with me and go for the ride? You know, I teach it in my classes, and then, you know, that's how we learn. So you should learn from other artists. And it really is like the ultimate, you know, compliment. So you can see I'm just making lines with the white. I got some blue in here. I got a little bit of that ochre too. Another little trick with, at least the way I paint, when I want this, like, kind of, they call it painterly. I'd never heard it called that. So I kind of like to carry my colors. I think the painting looks better when you can carry all the colors into the rest of the painting. All right, so you see I got this big background. I made a decision about the windows. I made a decision about the light and the shape of the pot. So now I want to start working on some of the, it's almost like a wicker look. And then I'm going to start making decisions about the flowers. Now, usually paintings, I always say 3 layers. You kind of got the layers where you're picking out, designing, you're developing your composition and your values. Your composition is, like I said, making a front room. So I want to make my pot, where my flowers going, where's my window, where's this, where's that. So that's your composition. And your values are your lights and your darks. Now, you can get real fancy. Values could be 1 shade of red, could be 8 shades, a lighter value, a darker value, a medium value. That's what values is. So you're developing that. Contrast, lights and darks, that's your light issue. So that kind of falls into values. And then your last thing is your highlights. And that is your decisions about your lights and darks. So usually it's around 3 layers, I always find. So the first couple of parts are really usually not so pretty. All right, so now I'm going to kind of come in with these yellows and a little bit of ochre, which is all the colors that are in this around the edges. This is what I did. I did this yellow. It's a lemon yellow. And ochre is like a peanut butter color. It's this color right here, which I use a lot when I want something to look antique-y. As long as you don't use too much. If you use too much of that ochre, like in a green, it can look pretty muddy. If you use too much yellow, any green, or any blue, and it's going to look green. If I want green, it's a problem. So only use very little. But I'm going to use it as a highlighter around my edges. And with a little bit of white, not much, because like I said, I want to highlight at the ends. And I'm just going to kind of randomly just go in here once in a while, just kind of make these light tees or little basket strokes. Not very big. Now remember, the light's coming from this window. Might be the other side of the house. So I'm going to have a lot of the lighter colors on the surface and on this side. That's where the light is. So I'm randomly just kind of, and then I follow, that's another thing, follow the shape. You're kind of following the shape of the pot. The pot's going roundly, and it's obviously got some kind of pot, or I should say, it might even come with a basket. I don't think this was actually, I do a lot of studies where I'll pick out, I got one we're doing a class tomorrow night in my membership, and it's actually from something that I own. My sister had got me a decanter or pot that's shaped like a pink cowboy boot. Where is it? No, I haven't really finished it. This is what we're gonna do tomorrow night. I'm putting it onto a big canvas for them, but a lot of times this is an easy one because I'm gonna make a tracer out of this. This is actually a boot. It's a ceramic boot, and these are the flowers I got in it right now. So I copied that. But a lot of times this one I know it's just my imagination and just wanting to play and just wanting to paint. You should do that. You should always have time where you can just play. I mean, if you're not really having fun at it, so I really enjoyed it. And then as the years went by, I got that's why I got into acrylics a little bit, because I was thinking I want something a little more vibrant. I wanted to try some different things, you know. And as you know, oils can be quite expensive if you screw up. But I mostly was looking for color. So I started playing around with the colors, with the acrylic paints. And if I hadn't done that, maybe I wouldn't have gotten that job at painting with a twist. You say never hires anybody right off the bat. You hired me. I'm going to put little greens here. All the colors that are on the outside, I'm incorporating in this paint. We're going to finish with the white. Now, I did a more blue up here, so I get the feeling that there might be a little, it's kind of like maybe an edge to it. You know how like they'll have that little edge, so I'm going to kind of darken that up. And under the flowers would be a little darker too, because you got the congestion of flowers. These are things I don't always think about, because I've been painting so long. But they do become, as you paint more, there's just, as you accumulate knowledge, things just start to happen. It's like driving a car. You know, it just, like you ever drive home, it's not a good thing. And you don't remember how you got there. It's because you've been doing this for so long that it's very intuitive. But the only way you can do it is if mom and dad let you drive, right? So this has probably got a round bottom. So you got to think about, there might be a little shadow here in the bottom of the pot. So I kind of put a little bit of dark brown in there. Give the indication that there might be a... Now when we finish with the light color, that's where all your definition of the pot's going to show up. Let's say a little more blue. I think this needs a little shot of blue there. Keep adding the little darks and lights of the pot, whatever you might call it. A lot of yellows on this side, white and yellow on this side. You want to kind of keep it this side on the light side. Like I said, just kind of randomly just adding yellows and lights until I get something that looks like a kind of maybe wicker pot of some type. Maybe there's wicker over the pot. Touch paint right there. Whatever liquid you would have in the pot, these highlights should be over top of that pot. So I said, don't worry about the background so much. Now, if I got like a line of blue going through something, I'm going to put a darker blue behind it. But I won't like define the picture too much in the background. It's more about getting the highlights in and all their nuances and colors. Get them in. So it's about drawing the highlights, not really about drawing the pot. If you're doing the highlights good, eventually you should have something that looks like a pot. Which I go over more in a couple classes I did. I did like what do they call those little pots, cannon, and I did a couple different things like that. It's in my classes. So I just keep adding these. Adding a little bit of white now, not a lot. A little bit of yellow. It's getting there. Now, I'm going to let that sit for a few minutes. This is our second layer, and I'm going to come back in, and I'm going to start figuring out where I want my flowers. So, the best thing I'll probably do is just go right in. I always like to start with the brightest color when it comes to red. Or any bright color. Just go right in, if you blob it in and get it in there. Because what happens is, this is more true with oil than anything, it starts mixing with your other colors, and it can really screw up a painting. So kind of make sure this is not really dry yet, but kind of make sure it's dry. And kind of come in here and just get those reds in, those bright colors in. I remember I was having problems with this one painting years ago, and I was doing poppies. And same thing, I kept getting screwed up because I was trying to put colors behind it, and it's a very bright color. And he says, don't do that. He says, just go right ahead, put the color in, make it one of the first colors that you get on the canvas. And what'll happen is it'll be about dry when you're working on the rest of the canvas, and it won't mix in with anything. Just kind of don't go around. Don't try to do colors behind it or near it. So there's going to be highlights on this. So like I do these little tricks where I leave little, like when I do watercolor, you leave little lines out. So I'm just kind of grabbing the shapes of the flowers. This one's like a big one. These are smaller. There's like 4 there, but I kind of don't like that. I kind of like 5. So let's kind of throw a little one in here too. Just kind of grab some shapes. So now, as you can kind of start putting in some like pinks, and there's some, take that red dirty brush, add some white. So, you know, real pale, a lot of white. Roll it right in that white, get it pretty pink. Now I'm going to start putting some highlights on. Go right in those parts that are kind of naked, they left out. Make them kind of pink. Now roses kind of like, they kind of go roundly. Now I'm not detailing it that much. But there's also these little wild corners that kind of come out like in V's, if you know what I mean. So if you put those in and you got everything going circular, you'll get something that looks pretty close to a rose without getting into a ton of detail. Now I'm going to put like, take that red, which is, I think it's scarlet. It's called scarlet. And add a little yellow, you get like an orangey rose color. Uh-oh, I mixed it into the blue by accident. Hold on. Screwed up. So I get kind of an orange, and I can put that in too. That's probably more this side because the highlights are coming from this side. Remember, this is where all the light is. We're probably going to yellow it up a little bit more. Well, this one I'm going to make more like a rose. In the original one, it's not, but I want some oranges in there and yellows. They're never the same anyways, guys. They can make them pretty similar, but they're never, something like this is never quite the same. Not quite. Putting those yellows in while it's still wet. Also has a yellow center, but let me just kind of get these colors in here. Let's take a little pure thing of yellow, just kind of give this a little dot right here. Oh, yellow. A little bit here too. A little here too. And there's a little brown color in there. A little dark center will probably have a little absence of light, so there would be a little darkness in here because there's like all these petals are going around the middle, and there'd probably be a shadow on one side, right? Stuff I think about. It's true. Gotta think about this stuff. Like I said, eventually, when you're doing it long enough, things just start to happen. I remember when I first started painting in a studio, which I didn't know was quite the honor until years later. You know, I was young, and she asked me what I wanted to do, but you know what I hoped to accomplish. Was it going to be a hobby? I says, no, I don't really know. I says, what I want is I want to be able to look at something and paint it. No, I didn't ask to make it perfect. I didn't ask to learn how to do it great. I just wanted to be able to do it because I was like, I didn't even know where to begin. You know what I mean? So I teach a little bit of that. We talk about stuff like that. You know? All the things I talk about, you know, I'm self-taught. And I've been to 1,000 classes. It's like my freaking hobby. I love to learn. And I love art, obviously. And a lot to offer when it comes to things that I've learned in places and papers. Sometimes I have to figure out, where did I learn that from when I first started teaching art? You know, and I love it. When I started teaching painting at a twist. And I had to think back, or I just don't know. Just You just do something for so long. It's like I said, driving a car, right? I'm not bragging. It's just, it is what it is. You know, I'm doing it a long time. All right, so now we got some flowers in there, right? So now we need some foliage. Now you could have done the foliage first. But like I said, I like to get the color in there sometimes. A lot of times, like with the palette knife, I go through and I'll put all the greenery in, then go back. But you don't have to do that. Sometimes it is better to get those bright colors in. I'm going to kind of give this a little angle here. It's like the pot's coming in to me. All right. So I'm just going to like make a light green like the that sap green and a little yellow and a lot of white, and I'm going to make kind of a pretty light line color. And the only reason I'm doing it is I don't want any definite lines here yet. I just want to kind of have an idea where I'm going to put things. I'm arranging my front room again. There's one like here. There's going to be probably some foliage right in here. There's some foliage right up in here too. I'm just kind of laying in where I want things. You can do this right at the beginning of the painting too. It depends on how you work. You know, you're going to find your own, you're going to learn from other artists different things, and you're going to find stuff that they do that might actually work better for you. But then, you know, you really got to kind of experiment too. So I say, some days you just got to sit down, even if everything looks ugly, or you think it looks ugly. I talk about that too, because I've had things where I thought they were absolutely atrocious and people bought them. Or I'd say, oh, that's ugly. They say, oh, no. So the one I had made some cards and I wasn't thrilled about them. And I said, oh, I threw them away. She said, oh, don't throw them away. Give them to me. So I gave them to her for a long time. She thought they were all wonderful. I don't know what she did with them. She still got them probably. Well, see, so I kind of got little shadows of what I'm going to do in there. The nice round brush. This is a Deco Art. I finally broke down and opened up one of my packages of brand new brushes. Some of these have got to go. All right, let's see what else is on here. So I, like I said, I offer classes. Thursday night, I'm on every Thursday night. Come watch me. If you go in my group, I'm on 4 o'clock every Saturday. And this week, like I said, we're going to be doing some ATC cards with some Memorial Day themes. There's a thing of some different little, call them inchies or ephemera that you can use to make cards with. And I'm going to be doing some other stuff. Got some other paintings we're going to be doing. So kind of come on over and see what we're doing. Need another drink. I'm so tired. I had a long day. I'm in central New York, just outside of Syracuse. I don't know what it's doing in your part of the country, but I think it's the whole Northeast. It was beautiful for a week. I was gardening like a fool because, you know, I had no yard. Because I got a new mobile home and they dug a hole. There's rocks and I already do all this stuff. And it is pouring. It's supposed to pour for the next 2 weeks. And we had just got over like a week of rain. And there's flooding everywhere. I got chewed up alive from, you can't see it, I got makeup on it, but bug bites everywhere. Because it's just a swamp in my backyard, so we're trying to figure out what to do with that. And now it's raining again. It was beautiful for a week. And I can't keep that grass cut. So now I got a lawn chair. I bring it in the house. I'll put it together in here. It's a collapsible one. I have a small shed. And I got a hose rack. I went and picked that up today and put that inside the house because I'm going to do it in here. So, like, I'm doing all my outside stuff inside. So, it's kind of just, like, upsetting. I love to garden. So, anyways. So, I got some stuff I can do. And I got more YouTube stuff. Anybody watching this? You could rewatch. I get a lot of rewatches. Anybody rewatching, I'm still working on the YouTube. I'm actually going to hopefully get to it this weekend. I did some last week. I did 7 more. I just got a lot in there I haven't released yet because I need to look at them and see what they are. And, you know, I can't have the membership stuff going in there. So I'm going to start adding some colors to this. I got these little dark and lights. I'm mixing different greens and yellows together. You can kind of, if you're worried about what they're going to look like, just kind of, like I showed you, mix them on your palette. See if you like them. I did some earlier so I could see what I was going to do, you know. Who's on here? And just make yourself some different greens. I don't like that one. A darker green right there. Green, add some white to that one, I think. Yeah, it's better. A little yellow. That green is kind of dark. It's the phthalo green, not sand green. It's phthalo green. Add some yellow to it to get a little greener because it has a blue base. So if you add more yellow to it, it gets greener. And then if you want lighter, just add white. Just add white. There you go. Just kind of play. I'm do it dark, and then I'm going to put some light colors, some yellows and stuff over the top of them. I'm just kind of laying my brush down the side. If you want it like you want this like ferny look, just kind of do it this way. Kind of flick it out a little bit. And I kind of blended this right into the background because it's going to be like the shadow side. So I started bringing this right in like that. Kind of blend them together. Went into the yellow, went right over top of these and give them a little hit of light. The light's probably coming, it's the other thing when you learn about light. It's hitting this side, but it's probably bouncing off the ceiling and coming over this way. So light will move around the room. So when you're doing like a real painting, you're kind of looking around to see where the light is going. Be it a face or a house or a forest, whatever, you're kind of seeing where the light is hitting. It might be going through the pot. I don't know what I was thinking. Could be anything. I got a lot of yellow in here, so I'm thinking it must be hitting some of this. So I'm just kind of taking that same yellow, that dirty yellow, it's on my brush now. Just going through and kind of highlighting a little bit. Oops, picked up some red. Oh, I get a little orange is kind of cool. It's kind of, let's make that work. Now I want to lighten these edges up on here too, so I'm going to kind of come in here and lighten these up. Wipe my brush off on my towel. Just kind of put some lighter colors up in here. Keep some darkness near these roses. You can come in here now with some greens and kind of come around the edges of these roses. It'll kind of define them a little bit too. Right up to the edges. Don't be afraid. You can put some more red in there, cut back in with the red too. Add some yellow to that. Let's make it a little lighter green right here. Same thing, you're going to go around these edges. Put a little darkness in here, make some flowers or some leaves. You can make some leaves right here. Darken them up a little bit. And I'm going to bring some leaves right in here too. I think we can lighten this edge up here too a little bit. I think I got it too far down. So with acrylic paint, which is nice is it dries real fast. And you can kind of, I'm still looking at my other painting. It isn't like I gave up on the painting. I'm sitting here right next to me and I'm looking at it while I'm working. Or while I'm creating, should I say. This actually, I want to keep these a little bit on the lighter side, so I'm going to leave them a second. And I'm going to kind of lighten up these greens right here. There's a little pink on there. I hit the pink again, that's okay. Like I said, sometimes you want these colors to carry through. All right. Start making these lighter on the side. I'm just going to use a dirty brush and just keep adding white, little hits of white here. And keep these on the light side. Some more green. I got a dirty brush that's cleaning up a little bit. start lightening this stuff up a little bit now. I start lightening this up. I'm going to find this shape a little bit, I think, a little better. My yellow's getting really dirty, so I'm going to need to get some clean yellow here. Kind of brighten these colors up a little bit at the side. I kind of want to give this a little bit of depth, so I'm going to pick that red and add a little bit of brown to it. There's a few dark ones here, some red ones. A little more blues, little blues down here too. A little more blue up here. Let's kind of take that pot in a little bit. I'm going to mix that green and that blue together a little bit. Lighten it up a tad with the white, not much. A little more green. A little more green. A little white. And I'm going to kind of pull this in a little bit. Let's pull that in. Yeah. More yellow in here, kind of lighten it up a little bit. Let's change the shape of this a little bit too. Let's go back in with just some green and yellow on this side. Keep it dark, a little bit darker. You guys probably have never heard of, it's another art technique, lost and found edges. You guys ever heard of that? It's a thing. Usually as the eye moves across the canvas, it will notice the things that have a hard edge. But usually anything in the light, I find, doesn't always have a hard edge. The things in the dark over here, they have the harder edges, more defined. You see them better. The light isn't diffusing them at all. Does that make sense? So you want a hard edge here and a softer edge there. A more defined line on this side and a softer edge on this side. Lost and found edges. Look it up. It's very interesting. Sometimes I don't understand it myself. I work on it. But I think everybody does. So, you know, this is more like has a very harder edge on this side. This side's a little softer. Still highlights the color on it. It's just softer. Alright. Now this flower is actually a lot bigger in the picture, so let's bring this right in here. Bring him right in. Let him come right over the top of this. And then we went and had sushi today, which is so funny because it's kind of what I had for breakfast. I ran out of stuff. I've been doing protein shakes, been helping me lose weight. And I ran out of stuff to make it. So I had stuff to make sushi, so tuna, I've been living on these tuna bowls. And I made that for breakfast. So then she says, why don't we go for it? So then I ended up having it for dinner, kind of. So I'm going to snack on it too. Now these are a little bigger than the ones in the picture, but that's okay. I want a little more yellow and orange in these. So I'm going to kind of pick up that yellow and that red. And I'm going to kind of make these more orangey. Like in the picture. I need more yellow and red mixed together. And I'll go over the top of these. Yellow and red. So I got like kind of orange. Maybe a little ochre once in a while. Go over these a little bit. I didn't realize they were so light, or so orangey rather. Let them sit a minute, I'll come back to them. Let's take the white and kind of define this edge. There's a little orange in it, so I'm working with a dirty brush. That's okay. Make a little line here, a little more defined. And that's kind of with that dirty brush, go in here and keep rippling some like little curtain images here. I got a cord over here hanging. I'm gonna move this cord. So it's not quite the same yet. We're getting there. A lot of times, you know, I'm talking, I'm explaining things. Hey, Rena. So I will get a little. Well, it gets different. It's never the same, but I'm still working on it. So I'm gonna continue. And then usually what happens is I will put it before, you know, I will show the picture from this class and then the old one side by side so you can see the differences and think about, you know, maybe you want to paint. You could download these pictures, take a picture of it. Anything I teach online, I don't worry about somebody like I said, I think it's a compliment if you copy them. But you can see like it's how it's developed. And when I did this painting, you know, I think it was just one of those things where I just felt like painting. So you can kind of get an idea what I did today and what I did before. And like I said, I'm talking, so like it's hard to like concentrate too good. So when I get done with the class, I go over it a little bit more, and then I put it usually into the Artsy Rose group. So make sure you go over there, join the group, and you can see my stuff. So I'm adding more colors to this, more of the yellow, more of the orange. So I think it was pretty intuitive is what I'm telling you. Just went with the flow, felt like painting, so I did. I know this wasn't taught in the class, so when I seen it, I said, oh, I might be able to do this. Let's just give it a shot. See if anybody likes it. Some lighter colors over the top of this. Remember, you do your lighter colors last. And I don't always like to use a straight white. I use my whites I like to highlight with, but I like to kind of take my dirty brush and rub it through the white, you know, so it's not quite, because natural light really has some color in it, believe it or not, it does. This needs a little more yellows to get too much, get another squish of this yellow. I'm still working on that pot. Alright, so let's go through and add some yellows to everything. Don't be afraid to add color. You know, if you watch me, I guess you would say I'm an impressionist, definitely, because I do a lot of the palette knife. And I guess I do painterly, they say. So, and the big thing with that is we like color. And I like color regardless if I like to paint or not. I like color. So you will find that I get my stuff pretty vibrant. You don't have to do that. You do you. If you want it a little darker, go ahead, do it darker. I'm trying to just kind of fill around the edges here, put in some color. Some greens, pick up some greens. Just get some color in around these flowers. Now, let me get another paper towel here. I am going to kind of mess with these flowers a little bit more. I'm going to expand them a little bit to cover up some of the stuff that's like showing here. So I want to kind of come around these edges and define them a little bit. Fill in this blank areas a little bit. I think I want this more green. Yeah, I'm going to be cleaning out the other room. I want to have the art room in the other bedroom. And, well, it just hasn't happened. It's just too much going on here. You know, I'm still emptying boxes from over a year ago, you know. I had a big old 4-bedroom house. I had a lot of stuff to get rid of. So, didn't know I had that much stuff. lived there 27 years. We were married 45 when he died. I had to ask my daughter. I can't remember if it was 45 or 46. It's 46. It'd be 50 years next year. It would have been. So there was a lot of stuff. And, you know, I had a lot of art stuff too. Good God. Because I was teaching the paint parties, and you just get accumulation of stuff. See, I'm just kind of going through and taking the yellows and whites and kind of just making some more highlights on here. Defining, you know, the edges and these little circles around. Not trying to be too perfect. You'll find that they look better if you're not trying to be so perfect. Which you'll learn as you go. Well, this is, like I said, this is not something I expect anybody to really do unless you've been painting a while. I just kind of, my job to kind of just give you some ideas and teach you things I know, you know. I want to darken this middle up a little bit because the flowers would make it darker around the edges here. Now let's kind of make these flowers right here a little bit whiter like in the picture. Ooh, too much red in there. I still got a round brush here I'm using, which I get too much paint on. It's okay. Got a little more pink on it. That's okay. It is so cold out, guys. It's just... I had a doctor's... You guys, you know, I had a female surgery last year. I had my uterus took out. I had cancer. So every 4 months now I have to go and get checked. Let me tell you something. I got a turtleneck on. I had my winter coat on. I had my winter boots on. That's how cold. And I wasn't the only one. This is people think I'm an idiot because I always dress like this. But I was looking around. Everybody else was. They had their winter boots on. I'm like, it is ridiculous up here. I had to bring my plants in the other day. They were doing the averages of weather and up here. It gets cold up here, no doubt about it. But normally by Labor Day, it's like really cold. The pool places are like doing no business. Because, you know, my sister usually has her pool open by now, you know. Well, that ain't going to happen. So it was darn cold. I don't know, guys. This weather's weird. I'm still looking on my highlights here. I'm trying to... I don't want to do... You can get more exacting. I used to do that, you know. I used to kind of make it perfect. But now I'm just looking for the nuances in a picture or in my mind, whatever it might be. So I need a little more darkness in here. So I'm going to kind of... This side is the side I want to see a little more definition. I'm adding this brown. Trying to mimic the shape of this. I get the shape off a little bit. It's not quite like in the other picture. It's not bad, but it's not quite the same. It has almost like a mayonnaise jar look to it, the shape. You know what I mean? It's this little square there. Little corner I'm trying to pick up on. There we go. Now I got like a kind of a... There you go. Now let's put some yellow on that. Oh, too much yellow. That was a happy little accent. So this side, let's get some white and yellow still. No, let's get some brown. Let's make a tan. And we're going to kind of try to get that edge out there the same way. Or at least imitate it as much as you can. Yeah. And put some highlights on it. Yellow and white again. Then it kind of comes down square and it rounds out. Comes down square and it rounds out. You're actually doing this with lights and darks. I gotta put this up for a minute. Look at it, guys. I gotta put it up and look. Wait. Can hear the rain coming down. Ugh. So irritating. And there's a little red down here, probably some reflection off the flowers, so don't be afraid to put colors in all over. I told you I like it when a little bit of the paint color will be all over the painting. You know, I like to see that. Because, you know, reflections move all over, they bounce off. secondary reflections and all that. Everything bounces off everything else. A little more yellow up in here, so let me rinse this brush up a little bit. Oh no. Am I still on here? Am I still on here? My laptop's acting funny now. Can you guys still hear me? Crazy internet. If you can still hear me, put it in the comments. The hills are alive with the sound of music. Sometimes, guys, it isn't like I don't hear you. Sometimes strange things are going on my Facebook. I've had like people chime in later. Sometimes I know it's like rewatches, but sometimes it's at the same time and they're not getting through. So, and other times everybody's on, and there's been a lot of storms, so I don't know if that's got something to do with it or not. I'm assuming. So I'm just putting a little bit of yellow right in here. Okay, I think we're still on. Looks like it's still on. It popped up that, see, it's my thing's buffering. This thing's about ready to give out. I'll do a few more minutes and then we'll call it a night. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night, my membership people. We're going to be doing, see, it's buffering. We're going to be doing that shoe paint, that boot, that pink boot. I just kind of smushed in a little yellow right here, like in the picture. Like kind of almost like a highlight right here too, like the sun coming through or something. Color in here, a little more blue and green, a little more green. Just darken that edge up. Let's take that brown and really define this with some brown and a little red. That red's nice. We'll darken up with the brown. A little dark blue in there, green. Darken this edges up. A little darkness up in here too. Some white. Yeah, I don't know. My page is buffering over here. I can see it starting to go. Can you guys still hear me? Does anybody hear what I'm saying? Really kind of lighten this up as much as I can. Lighten this up. Luckily with acrylic paints, they lighten up pretty good. I mean, they dry pretty fast so that you can come in, you can change things. You can change the colors. I'm trying to get this a lot brighter. Get this a lot brighter. See, as you start highlighting, that's when all this stuff starts. When you kind of see how, like, when I framed that, what happened is it pushed the flower pot back by having something in the front bigger. Like, you could have made this, like, small, made this little window in the back. This is what you learn about composition. And when you did it bigger, it pushed that back. Think about it. Draw something out. If, you know, like, when you do flowers, if you want... like I did that barn that I did the barn in the background. I did small flowers, but I did great big flowers right across the front. Left a little opening so you could see more of the barn. And you put the big flowers there that push the barn back. Well, the same thing happens with the curtains, even in this one. Because I believe I probably added them in like towards the end of the painting. It kind of pushes it into the corner. Let's look over this corner more. Let's see a little more yellow on that. So we're going to call this a night, guys. And you can rewatch this. Anybody rewatch this, just let me know you rewatched it. I took this business class, and a lot of people can't, like, are probably working today even. And they might be out running errands to Thursday night. So they can't always watch when I can do a class or when I do. I'm on here quite a bit. So I'll put both of them on there. I'll mess with it, see where I'm off. I feel like I'm still off on that one side. So I'll post them. I'll mess a little bit and post it. But like Tuesdays, I've been doing just a pop-up. Could be anytime, could be anything. I've been doing like, because I'm an ambassador for a stencil company, so I've been doing a lot of stenciling stuff. And I've been looking at some watercolor techniques, and I just learned a couple more jelly things. I've been playing with the jelly plate, which is a fun project too. So just all different stuff. So kind of keep up and, you know, follow my page. And if you see something you like, well, you can sit down in the class or just watch the rewatch. And that's another thing. That's why we're talking about YouTube, guys. YouTube, I don't know what your end of the country, but our end of the country, we have to store our own now. Hey, Amy. So we used to be able to just store. I mean, I store my own emails. I store all kinds of stuff, my pictures on my phone. You pay for it. So now after 30 days, we got to store it. So I put all my stuff on YouTube. So you're going to see, I have close to 200, but I think there's only like 100 maybe that you can see. And a lot of them are private classes from my membership. So just be aware that in 30 days, this is not going to be here, and I don't have a choice. So I don't know. They haven't really touched the group chat. I'm not sure what's going on with that yet. But I do know they are moving the videos. Well, we have to move the videos. So the reels will be on here, and like, you know, like when I give tracers, they're all in my group. In the guide section, there's a bunch of tracers and videos. But at some point, there's every day I get a couple say, do you want to keep this? I can't remember all of them. But I went through a good couple hundred, or at least, and a lot of them are unlisted. So I put 7 on last week. I go over and add some more. I'm getting close to the end of what they gave me, a big lot of them. So I'm getting close. So you'll be able to go over there. And my Joe Allen said she binge watched me for 3 hours. I'm like, oh my God. I never even thought of that, right? So anyways, guys, so I will see you next week. And I will put these together. We'll post them and mess around because I've been talking and I don't always get it the way I want it. And I will see you Saturday at 4 o'clock. So make sure you join the group. And I will be on my membership on Friday nights every other week. And I'll see you Tuesday, if not Saturday. And like I said, you can rewatch anytime you want, but it has to be 30 days from the date of the class. So, all right, guys, have a great night. And I hope inspiration finds you wherever you go. And make art. Make lots and lots of art. Good night, guys. I'll see you Saturday. Bye, guys.